Tacoma. Welcome back to TV Teaching for 2nd grade. Today is Wednesday, October 14th. I'm Mrs. Oslin. Before we get started with our writing lesson, we're going to check in with our zones to make sure that our brain and our bodies are ready to learn. So think about what emotion you're feeling. If you're not sure, you can always ask the questions, what is happening in my brain? And what is my body feeling? We're going to practice expressing our emotions using an I message. You'll remember an I message sounds like, I feel because Now, take some think time and put your emotion into an I message. Now, I'm going to model sharing my I message with Gus, and then you're going to get an opportunity to share your I message. Gus, I feel tired today because one of my kids woke me up early this morning. Now, your turn, 2nd graders. Use your I message to express your emotion. Now, we've been talking this week about gratitude. Gratitude is when we think about the things in our life that we're grateful for, the things that make us happy. And while I'm feeling tired, I'm in the blue zone because I'm feeling tired because one of my kids woke me up early this morning, I can still look at that experience and think about my emotion through a positive lens. And I can think about how grateful I am that I have my kids to wake me up early in the morning. So I would say, I'm grateful for my kids. So think about, what do you have in your life that you're grateful for? Take some think time. Now, use the I message, I'm grateful for, Go ahead. When we think about the things in our life that we're grateful for, it gives us perspective and it can really change our attitude. So I could be really tired and be kind of grumpy about it, or I can look at it through a lens of gratitude where, yes, I'm tired, but I'm so grateful that I have my kids, I can get through a day tired. So now that we've checked in with our zones, and now that we have what I call an attitude of gratitude, we can get started with our lesson. The materials that you will need today are your learning buddy. I have Gus. You might have another stuffed animal or a pet rock or a pet, or maybe there's someone else in the room with you that you can do some thinking and speaking with. You're going to need your 2nd grade ELA packet. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need your writing or learning notebook. And I want you to get your Snap word book. So 5 things: learning buddy, ELA packet, pencil, writing notebook, Snap word book. Go get those 5 things and meet me over at the screen. We've been talking and reading all about what writers and illustrators do. Today, I want to teach you that writers record or write about their personal experiences. They write about the small moments, the things in their life, and use that as inspiration for their reading and writing. Today, we're going to revisit the book Fireflies. And in this book, our author and illustrator, Julie Brinklow, tells the story of a child who goes out and catches fireflies. And while she's telling this story, she uses really descriptive words and really descriptive illustrations to help us feel what the character is feeling in their experience catching fireflies. She also makes it very clear that even though catching fireflies isn't a big event in life, we still can feel really strong emotions about small moments in our lives. And sometimes we can even feel more than one seemingly conflicting strong emotion about the events in our lives. So while we read, I want you thinking about the words that Julie uses to describe the situation and how she also draws pictures with a lot of tiny details to describe what is happening in this experience. Fireflies. On a summer evening, I looked up from dinner through the open window to the backyard. It was growing dark. My treehouse was a black shape in the tree, and I wouldn't go up there now. But something flickered there, a moment. I looked, and it was gone. It flickered again over near the fence. Fireflies. Don't let your dinner get cold, said Mama. Now, Julie is using a lot of descriptive language. She's telling us about how it's growing dark. She's talking about how the treehouse is a black shape in the tree. And then, a moment, something flickered, and then it was gone. And it flickered again. She's really drawing on our sense of sight on this page, where what do we see? What do things look like? She's really describing this moment very clearly. I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. Please, may I go out? The fireflies! Mama smiled and Daddy nodded. Go ahead, they said. I ran from the table down to the cellar to find a jar. I knew where to look, behind the stairs. The jars were dusty and I polished one clean on my shirt. Then I ran back up 2 steps at a time. Holes, I remembered, so they can breathe. And as quietly as I could, so she wouldn't catch me doling them, I poked holes in the top of the jar with Mama's scissors. Now, Julie's really using more descriptive language on this page, where the character talks about the jars were dusty and they polish one clean on their shirt. Now, that's something that I've done. I can relate to that. I can picture this character getting a dusty jar and using their shirt to dust it, and then running back up the steps, 2 steps at a time. I can think about a time when I was so excited about something and I ran up the steps 2 at a time. She's really including such descriptive language that I can picture myself doing these things. The screen door banged behind me as I ran from the house. If someone said, "Don't slam it," I wasn't listening. Now, here on this page, Julie is using our sense of sound. The screen door banged behind me. Can you hear a door slamming? I can. This is what authors do. They include descriptive language so that readers can almost hear the experience. I called to my friends in the street, "Fireflies!" But they had come before me with polished jars, and others were coming behind. Now in this picture, Julie is showing us all the children, and I can see that they're all holding jars. And I can see one person is even like running, they're mid-stride running. So I can look at the picture and the details that she's included, and I can sense their excitement. The sky was darker now. My ears rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked hard as I watched them. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making white patterns in the dark. So Julie is including even more descriptive language here. She's talking about what he heard. He could hear the crickets, and The character's eyes stung from staring too long. And I can remember a time when I was really excited about something and I was staring at it, and then my eyes started to sting and I had to blink. And then she goes on to use words like blinking on, blinking off, and I'm just picturing the fireflies be like lights that are flashing on and off. So more visual description. Now on the next page, I want you to listen carefully because Julie starts to use what we call a simile. Say simile. A simile is when an author uses the word like or as to describe and compare what they're describing to something else, to give you a really clear picture in your mind. So listen for that word like or as. We ran like crazy, barefoot in the grass. And there it is. And I'm even going to, hopefully, underline. We ran like crazy. Now, think about that. What would it be like to run like crazy, like wild? Close your eyes and picture it. Visualize running like crazy. Can you see it in your mind? Julie used this simile, run like crazy, to describe how they were running. They weren't just running. They were running like crazy because they were so excited. They were barefoot in the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Suddenly, a voice called out above the others, I caught one, and it was my own. I thrust my hand into the jar and spread it open. The jar glowed like moonlight, and I held it in my hands. I felt a tremble of joy, and I shouted, I can catch hundreds! Did you hear it? Did you hear Julie use a simile again? I'm going to go back and reread and listen for the word like or as Julie describes what's happening on this page. The jar glowed like moonlight. I'll underline it. Not only did she use words, but if you look at this picture, the jar is glowing like moonlight. Take a moment and close your eyes and picture a jar glowing like moonlight. Can you see it? Now, look at our character's face. What do you think our character is feeling? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you think the character is feeling and how you can tell. Go ahead. You might have noticed the way that our character is looking at the jar. He's got a small smile, but his eyes are wide. It's almost like he's amazed or in awe of what he's seeing. Then we dashed about, waving our hands in the air like nets. She did it again, waving our hands in the air like nets. Now, let's act that out. So safely and calmly, go ahead and stand up. And I want you to picture that there's fireflies all around you. And take your hands and wave them in the air like nets, like you're trying to catch them. Are you catching hundreds? I used my hands and waved them in the air like nets, like Julie described, catching 2, 10, hundreds of fireflies, thrusting them into jars, waving our hands for more. Then someone called from my house, "It's time to come in now." And others called from other houses, and it was over. Now, I can picture this. I can almost hear our characters' parents yelling from the house, "Come in now, it's time to come in." My friends took jars of fireflies to different homes. Now let's check in with the picture there of all of the characters walking away with their jars. Look closely at their faces, because Julie has drawn them to show us how they're feeling. What do you think the characters are feeling? Tell your learning buddy how you think they're feeling, and use the picture, the text evidence, to explain how you know. Go ahead. You might have noticed that the characters are smiling, big smiles, and one character even has his hand in the air, or her hand, or their hand. These characters seem to be very excited about their experience catching fireflies. And Julie, as the illustrator, has included that detail in her picture so that we as readers can connect with our characters and really feel how they're feeling. I feel their excitement. I climbed the stairs to my room and set the jar on the table by my bed. Mama kissed me and turned out the light. "I caught hundreds," I said. Daddy called from the hallway. "See you later, alligator." "After a while, crocodile," I called back. "I caught hundreds of fireflies." Now our character is so excited that they are telling their parents, "I caught fireflies." They just want to talk about it. They're so excited. And as a reader, I can think about a time when I was so excited about something, I just wanted to tell everyone all about it. And Julie, our author and illustrator, has really made me feel the same feelings as our character. In the dark, I watched the fireflies from my bed. They blinked off and on, and the jar glowed like moonlight. There's a simile again. That jar is glowing like moonlight. And I can see that she also included that in her illustrations. But it was not the same. The fireflies beat their wings against the glass and fell to the bottom and lay there. And now I'm noticing that the character's face has changed. What do you think the character is feeling now? Are they still feeling amazed or in awe? The character seems to be feeling just a bit more sad. I shut my eyes tight and pulled a pillow over my head. They were my fireflies. I caught them. They made moonlight in my jar. But the jar was nearly dark. I flung off the covers. I went to the window, opened my jar, and aimed it at the stars. Fly! Then the jar began to glow, green, then gold, then white as the moon. And the fireflies poured out into the night. Fireflies blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making circles around the move like stars dancing. Because Julie included that simile like stars dancing, I can picture in my mind the fireflies in the sky as if they were stars dancing. I held the jar dark and empty in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears, and I could feel myself smiling. Now, we talked about how writers draw on their personal experiences and they record them. And here, our author and illustrator, Julie Brinklow, has included both in the words and in the picture that it's very clear what our character is feeling. The character is crying. And even though just letting fireflies go doesn't seem like it might be that big of a deal, we can still feel really strong emotions, seemingly conflicting emotions, where our character is both crying and smiling. Now, second graders, you completed a memorable moments chart, much like this one from your ELA packet, where you thought about an emotion that you felt and a memory that was associated with that. And then you included some small details. The small details is where you would include similes. And I'm going to invite you to try to include similes in your writing, really describing your experience, likening it to something that your reader may have an experience with so they can connect with you as a writer. I'm going to encourage you to write about your strong emotions and not just the positive ones. You're going to use this chart to help you come up with some ideas, and then you're going to use your writer's notebook, and that's where you're going to record, like our learning intention, you're going to record your experience. And I want you to use your snap words book to help you make sure that you're spelling your snap words correctly. You're also going to continue to build your independent reading stamina today. Second graders, thank you so much for reading and writing with me. This is your 5-minute break. Take this opportunity to go to the bathroom, get your drink of water, and stretch your legs. When you come back, Mrs. Wally will be here with you for math. Thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Welcome back, second graders. I hope you enjoyed your break. I really enjoyed watching that undersea break time. That was great. So before we get started today, these are the materials you need. You need yourself, your whiteboard, and your learning buddy, and a whiteboard pen or paper and a pencil if you don't have a whiteboard and pen. As people are gathering their materials, I would like you to solve this problem. This is called Work It Out Wednesday, where we're going to mentally work out problems. I don't want you to write it on your whiteboard. I want you to work it out and see if you can figure out this problem without writing anything down. Ready? Some think time. What do you notice? It's one of our doubles. I love doubles. What is 7 and 7? 14. Now let's say you didn't know that double yet. Some people might not have them memorized, and that's okay. How else could you solve it? Gus and Mrs. Wally, we can break up the 7 into a part that would make 10. 7 and what makes 10? 7 and 3 makes 10, and 3 and 4 make this 7. So this would be 10, and 4 more is 14. Now, 7 and 9. Private think time. What is 7 plus 9? What is the sum of 7 plus 9? Turn and tell your learning buddy, what do you think? What is the sum of 7 plus 9? And how did you figure it out? What was that, Pebble? Oh, I wonder if your way is like Pebble's. Let's see. This is what Pebble did. Pebble said, I know that 9 and 1 makes 10, and there's 6 left over, so it's 16. Did you get 16? Gus, what did you do? Gus said, I knew from the last problem that 7 plus 7 is 14, and 9 is 2 more than 7. 9 is made of 7 and 2. So 14 plus 2 is 16. Both of those ways work. Awesome. Let's go on to the next one. 7 plus 8. Private think time. What's the answer? Turn and tell your learning buddy. What do you think the answer is, and how did you get it? You really need to actually tell your learning buddy. Oh, that's amazing thinking. I heard this. I knew that 7 plus 7 was 14, and I knew that 7 plus 9 was 16. So 7 plus 8 must be, what's the number in the middle? 15. This person used what they knew about our other problems to mentally solve this problem. What's another way that you solved this? Oh, someone might have taken 7, said 7 is made of 5 and 2. 8 and 2 makes 10, and 5 more is 15. Or they might have said 8 is made up of 3 and 5. 7 and 3 makes 10, and 5 more is 15. Look at all those ways you can solve one problem. Someone else might have said 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. There are so many ways to pull numbers apart to help us solve them in our brains. We call that mental math. Okay. 7 plus 6. What is 7 plus 6? Turn and tell your learning buddy, what do you think the answer is, and how do you know? I heard someone say, I know that fact. I know that it's 13. Okay. I wonder how that person could check their thinking, because sometimes we think we know, but we've remembered it wrong. Oh, Gus, you see 6 plus 6 plus 1? 6 plus 6 is 12, and 1 more is 13. 6 and 6 is 12, and 1 more is 13. Okay. What's another way? Ooh, Pebble. I know that 7 and 3 makes 10, and 6 is made up of 2 3s. So 10 and 3 is 13. Oh, you want to break apart? Oh, someone wants to break apart the 7. They know that 6 and 4 makes 10, and 3 more is 13. Excellent thinking. Let's move on to the next problem. 7 and 5. What is 7 plus 5? How do you know? What is 7 plus 5 and how do you know? 12. Someone said 12? I wonder how they got 12. Gus, what did you get? You got 12? Okay. How did you get 12? You said 5 and 5 is 10 and 2 more is 12? Okay. Pebble, what did you do? Pebble said, well, Mrs. Wally, 7 and 3 is 10, and 2 more is 12. Do you want to know what I did? I said, I know that 7 plus 7 is 14, and 5 is 2 less than 7. So 14 minus 2 is 12. I used subtraction to help me solve addition. Wow, there are so many ways to figure this out. So now what you're going to do is you're going to solve these ones on your whiteboard. Are you ready? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to solve these. And then I'm going to come back and give you the answers and you're going to check your work. Are you ready? Think time music and go. I'm going to give you 1 minute. You can do it in a minute. Okay, what is 4 plus 3? 7. 3 and 3 is 6, and 1 more is 7. What is 5 plus 6? 11. What is 2 plus 3 plus 4? I have a question. Which ones did you combine first? Which one in your brain was easier to combine first? The 3 and the 4 or the 2 and the 3? Does it matter what order we put them together? Not with adding, it doesn't, does it? My brain likes 2 and 3 because I know that's 5, and then 4 more is 9. Did anyone do it differently? Gus, you like 3 and 4 is 7, and 2 more is 9? All right, the answer is 9. What about 11 minus 4? Ooh, this is one of those ones I like to get to 10 and then keep subtracting. So if I have 11, how many of my 4 do I need to subtract to get to 10? And then how many's left in my 4? So if I take 1 away, I get to 10. And then what's 10 minus 3? 7. So my answer is 7. Okay, 7 minus 2? What makes 7 with a 2? 5. Excellent. Now today we're going to do something new. We're going to talk about data or data. People say it differently. I like to say data. Some people may say data. It's the same thing. It's information collected about a topic so we can understand better. We're going to talk about data, graphing. Now, we're going to look at graphs with data on it. There's 2 types of graphs we're going to focus on during the next few days. Bar graphs and picture graphs. We're going to look at the first graph and we're going to decide, is this a bar graph or a picture graph? And you might not know. You may have never seen either of those things. So let's take a look and see if we can figure out, is this a bar graph or a pictograph? Here we go. What do you think? Do you think that this is a bar graph or a pictograph? How did they represent the data? This is what we're looking at right now. We're looking at this. Just take a few seconds to look at it. What do you notice? What do you notice? You notice there's pictures of vegetables. Okay. What else do you notice? Oh, there's these things down here. We call these labels. There's labels. Okay. What else do you notice? I wonder how they knew to put 4 carrots. Oh, maybe the data was 4 carrots. I wonder why they're doing carrots, beans, broccoli, corn. What do you think they were trying to figure out? Oh, you noticed a title? Yes, right here. Graphs have titles, so we know what the data is for. Someone was taking a survey on people's favorite vegetables. Let's read our story problem and see if we can figure out some information. Are you ready? Parker asks his friends to tell him their favorite vegetable. Have you ever done that? Have you ever walked around and your favorite ice creams, and you get a clipboard and you check all your friends' favorites? I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. He organizes their answer in a picture graph. So what kind of graph is this? It's a picture graph because we're using pictures of the items to share the data. How many friends chose carrots or beans? Okay, so what's happening? Parker, we call this surveyed. Parker surveyed his friends on what vegetables they like. Okay? What are we trying to figure out? What's the question we're going to answer from this graph? How many friends chose carrots or beans? Okay. So now we've got to look at the graph. What information do we not need for this problem? What do we not need? What do we need? We need carrots. We need carrots and we need beans. So what information can I just get rid of on the graph right now? What do I not need to look at? Do I need to know broccoli? Nope, okay, broccoli's gone. It just helps my brain to know I don't need to worry about that information right now. Now, I might use it in another problem, but for this problem, I'm not using that information. I don't need it. What else do I not need? Corn. Okay, so now we have carrots and beans left on the graph. How do I figure out how many friends chose carrots or beans? Private think time. What would you do to figure out how many friends chose carrots or beans? Now, you might be thinking, Mrs. Wally, it's kind of tricky because it says carrots or beans. And sometimes when I see the word or, I have to pick one or the other. This is something that can be really confusing when we're talking about graphs. When we're talking about graphs and we ask how many friends chose carrots or beans, that means this person wants to know altogether how many friends chose the carrots or beans. So we want to know that total. Does that help? So what would you do? Go ahead, solve it on your whiteboard, and then we'll do it together and see what you think. You ready? Go. You might be thinking about counting the pictures in the graph. Okay, so before I go, I want to think about a number bond. This is how many friends chose the carrots or beans. This is going to be the carrots, and this is going to be the beans. How many carrots? 4. How many beans? 2. What is 4 plus 2? 6. How many friends chose carrots or beans? 6 what? 6 friends. Excellent. Now, look at this. This is a bar graph. That's different. Now we have a bar graph. It's no longer pictures of the vegetables. Now it's a bar. This first bar under carrots, we see it goes all the way up to the number 4. Do you see that? It's all the way up to the number 4. I'm going to change my color. Beans is up to the number 2. Broccoli is up to the number 3. And corn is to the number 2. Let's look back at our other graph. 4, 2, 3, 2. It's the same data, just in a different graph. Now, this question says, what do the labels under each bar show? Well, what does this label tell us? What does it tell us? It tells us that this is how many friends chose carrots. This is how many friends chose beans, broccoli, and corn. Okay, how many friends chose broccoli? Look at the graph. How many friends chose broccoli? 3. Excellent. How are the bar graph and the picture graph the same? Private think time. How are they the same? I'm going to go back and show you. How are these two graphs the same? Turn and tell your learning buddy or a person there that you can chat with, how are these two graphs the same? Whoops. How are they the same? How are they similar? Guess what's one way they're similar? They have the same labels and the same title. Favorite vegetables, carrots, beans, broccoli, corn, carrots, beans, broccoli, corn. They show the same amount, yes. 4, 2, 3, 2. 4, 2, 3, 2. How are they different? This one actually shows that many pictures, doesn't it? But this one just goes up to a line to tell us the number. Nice work. Second graders, today we talked about graphs, data, bar graphs, and picture graphs. In your assignment today, you're going to fill out this table. It says, in my own words and an example. So you need to say in your own words what you think data is and an example, what you think a bar graph is and an example, what you think a picture graph is and an example. Then you're going to answer the questions about these graphs. Meet me on up at the camera for our affirmation. Oh, happy Wednesday, second graders. We've all been home a lot. That means we've been around the same people a lot. The people we love and care about. But sometimes that means we start to get in disagreements and have problems. And that's really normal and okay. You've learned as second graders so far this year how to stay chill from chilly, how to share your feelings, and how to confront someone when they've made you frustrated or upset. Those skills make you a strong problem solver. So your affirmation today is, I am a strong problem solver. You ready? I'm going to practice it. I am a strong problem solver. Your turn. Excellent work, second graders. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.